The Riviera Hotel and Casino was home to celebrities like Elvis and Frank Sinatra. Was the backdrop for some of Vegas's most iconic movies like Casino, Ocean's 11, and Austin Powers. Its previous owners included everyone from the Mafia to Dean Martin and even the President of the United States. But by 2015, that just didn't cut it anymore. With only amateur camera equipment, a disregard for the law, and a passion for Las Vegas history, we spent years collecting footage of decay and destruction that would normally cost millions in legal fees to obtain. For the first time ever, you'll see everything that happens inside a closed Vegas hotel, from the last day open to an end violent beyond imagining.
Down the street with the brim pulled way down low. Ain't no sound but the sound of speed. Machine guns ready to go. Are you ready? Hey, are you ready for this? Are you hanging on the edge of your seat? Out of the doorway, the bullets rip to the sound of the beat. Yeah. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone. And another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Hey. Hey, we're gonna get you too. Another one bites the dust. How do you think I'm gonna get along without you when you're gone? You took me for everything that I had and kicked me out of my own.
The Riviera is interesting because it's the last of the sort of 50s casinos that still exist on the Strip, or existed. It's going to be gone soon. It was the first high-rise on the Strip. You know, it was 9 stories tall when it was built, and this wasn't the first high-rise casino in Las Vegas, but it was the first one on the Strip. There were high-rises downtown.
The period of time in the 50s, the 60s, up through the late 70s, the Riviera was quite a nice place. As we moved into the 80s and the 90s and even further, with the competition, the Riviera just couldn't hold up. And it was kind of sad in a way, but that's Las Vegas.
The Riviera eventually grew to house 2,100 hotel rooms in 5 different towers. But it wasn't its size that made the Riviera important.
If you're working with a movie company, they need hours and hours and hours of your casino floor to be shut down. And a casino that's making millions of dollars off their casino floor aren't going to shut down for a movie company to make money off of them. Because it was a sort of more mass market casino, not one of the higher end casinos, a lot of movies ended up being shot there.
After midnight, we black out the whole town and hit the 5 casinos at the same time.
He invited the biggest people in town, and he knew they'd show, because he knew they all wanted something from him.
5.
I think we have a problem, sir.
Good night.
My arrival was badly timed.
But no, I couldn't do without my supply.
Room service. Freeze! Hold it right there!
Stuck in traffic in a stolen police car with what is sure to be a missing child in the back seat. Which part of this is fun?
I think the cop car part's pretty cool.
Thank you, Alan. It is cool.
By spring 2015, the Riviera was getting ready to celebrate its 60th birthday, and the hotel's finances were healthy. But a tumor was slowly growing. The Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority is a government agency responsible for promoting Las Vegas and maintaining the city's convention center. As of February 2015, their latest proposal involved demolishing the Riviera and replacing it with one of the biggest convention centers in the United States, which could launch Las Vegas 25 years ahead of the competition. Despite a grassroots effort to save the Riviera, pioneered by a local high schooler, the LVCVA quickly came to a decision to purchase the hotel for $182.5 million. The closing date was later set for May 4th, 2015, and its 1,000 employees were informed that they needed to get a new job. Fast forward 16 weeks to May 3rd, 2015. The atmosphere at the Riviera was more busy than usual as tourists and old-timers alike began to celebrate the end of an era. The 16-month demolition process was then kicked off by the closing of the hotel swimming pool at 4 p.m. When the time came, several tourists went head-to-head with security in order to be the last person in the Riviera pool.
Hi, my name is Zoe Bowie, and we are here on the very last night of what is probably one of the last institutions of what Las Vegas is all about. It's the Riviera Hotel Resort Casino. That kind of was the luxury resort during the golden era of this magnificent city. You know, it's a very sad day for some of us who love the spirit of old Las Vegas. And so we're here to kind of say our last respects and our goodbyes. You know, in a couple months, this is going to be nothing but a parking lot, and that's kind of sad.
The sun rose to reveal a day like any other at the Riviera, but it wasn't long before the casino was packed with people.
I love the fact that they had that bas-relief, I guess you'd call it a bas-relief sculpture of the backsides of all the girls, and that's not being torn down with the casino. That was picked up and moved to where Crazy Girls moved to. So they're taking along a piece of the history to the new location for Crazy Girls.
9:30 p.m. Dark Tuesday in the Crazy Girls Theater. For tickets, stop by the Riviera box office.
Shortly after the statue came down, security made an announcement that the Riviera was closed and started herding us towards the back of the casino.
Here's our top stories. Today marks the end of an era on the Las Vegas Strip.
Yep, from now on, the Riviera will only live on in memory.
The locks went on. The stickers went up. The customers came out. And it became official. Las Vegas's 9th resort is history.
You'd write down S121 print for $8, and we'd like you to write down what you want to purchase. It makes the line go a lot quicker.
It wasn't long before the Riviera was reopened for what could best be described as a giant garage sale. The rules for the sale were quite simple. For $10, you could go anywhere in the hotel, even the parts that were normally off limits, and buy anything that you could detach from the building.
One of the things we ended up purchasing, that's of interest, I'd say, is we purchased a lot of the slot machines that were left over. We knew at that point in time that we were going to be expanding at the Golden Gate and things like that. So we thought there's a good amount of decent equipment there. So we purchased all the old equipment.
Back when this museum started, like even before it started, we would have to call people and say, can we please have your signs before you demolish or tear down your business, your hotel, whatever. we're at a point now with our notoriety, not only in Las Vegas but around the world, that people are calling us before they do anything else and saying, we want to give you our signs. And that's certainly what the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority did when they purchased the Riviera. They called us, we had conversations, they made sure we got the necessary signage, and so we have saved that piece of history for Las Vegas.
When it was actually being shut down last year, I went in there and actually bought some stuff. I love vintage history on Vegas, and I actually bought the actual chandelier that was outside the suite of the Frank Sinatra room, and then I also bought the chandelier on the inside when you walk in.
While the sale normally attracted bargain hunters, it managed to bring in people wanting to do all sorts of things. From vandalism, to taking a selfie on the roof, to God knows what.
I'm spying on you.
But for some, the sale was a much more emotional affair.
Well, I've been coming here ever since I was a kid with my parents, and I used to sit outside the door when they were gambling. And then, of course, when I was old enough to gamble, I've been coming here for the last 35 years, 3, 4, 5 times a year. I go right by that railing over there in the corner, and I touch that railing for good luck. I'm going to own that railing today, hopefully, and take it home with me. It's going to be a piece of Riviera history.
Am I going to be here for the implosion? I will not.
Okay.
I have my limits on what my emotions can handle. You know, when you follow Las Vegas history, which you and other people like yourself do, it's hard to watch. I can watch it on TV.
For some of the former employees that called the Riviera home for several decades, the emotions were just too much to handle. I was driving to the Riviera when a distraught former employee named Carla started wandering the barren top floor of the Monte Carlo Tower. She came to a balcony and jumped to her death. The following 4 photos were accidentally taken by myself 3 hours later. I didn't find out about what happened until after the sale had ended and the incident was dramatized in Ghost Adventures.
This was the sand that was used to absorb the blood from her body when it hit the pavement just a couple months ago. She was looking down right here.
After the sale was over, the LVCVA delayed the demolition due to funding issues and handed the Riviera over to the fire department for training purposes.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to come to a hotel where we can actually do live fire training. We can break windows, we can break doors, we can get things wet, we can ding up walls. Firefighting is a very active business. It's just a rare opportunity.
But it wasn't just the fire department. Everyone from the FBI to the Secret Service got to have their share of fun in the abandoned casino. If you thought guns, fire hoses, and fake emergencies were exciting, you haven't seen what Universal Studios did. Before the action began, the rundown casino was filled full of old slot machines, and to everyone's surprise, the Riviera was lit up one last time. And then it happened. Unfortunately, my documentary ran into a brick wall when the LVCVA police, who patrol the Riviera 24 hours a day, cut off filming access due to the discovery of asbestos. But when I met a temporary employee who was guarding some camera equipment in the parking lot, I was able to throw together a plan B. I waited until Matt Damon had everyone's attention and put the plan into motion. The 4 days inside the Riviera were terrifying, but they shed light on an icon in a state of decay.
We are not making a final recommendation for the oversight panel today.
The LVCVA later came to realize that they couldn't afford the new convention center just yet, and decided to turn the Riviera site into a parking lot for 5 years to cut down on security costs. After coming to this conclusion, they approved a $42 million demolition plan that would level the 13-building complex with 3 dramatic implosions and a lot of construction equipment. Work began by cutting a slit in the Monaco Tower so that mini bobcats could be raised into the building. The bobcats then pushed all the furniture and non-supporting walls out of the building's front windows. While the Monaco Tower was being gutted, a second demolition company was called in to level the parking garages so that the space could be used to break up concrete. A third crew was also working on bringing down the Riviera Convention Center, which showcased how the hotel has expanded over several decades.
Jeffrey Kutash has become a big winner in Las Vegas. He is the creator of the 1986 Show of the Year.
Long before Cirque du Soleil, the Versailles Theater at the Riviera played host to the first water-based acrobatic spectacular, called Splash. The theater also played host to Liberace, Frank Sinatra,
When I was 21,
and countless other celebrities. But by the time the theater was put out of its misery, it had been abandoned for nearly a decade, and the majority of its superstar headliners had been dead for 20 years or more, fading into obscurity.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars.
Las Vegas is a very unique city because you can watch a skyscraper be built and you'll still be alive when it's torn down. I personally love this because it sets us apart from being just another city. But not everyone will agree with me.
I'm still angry now because every time I go by there, I just feel upset and saddened that it's just a useless parking lot. I mean, they have this huge parking lot. They already had one because they destroyed the landmark in the 90s.
But, I mean, don't they need more parking space because they're expanding, they're building a new convention center? So.
Yeah, but who knows how long it'll take for them to actually build the convention center, though?
Well, I mean, I don't know if there's any right answer to hotels getting imploded and whatnot. But the one thing I could say is that, time stands still for nobody. Sometimes hotels that were great in, 1960 and 1970, maybe they're not quite as applicable and as functional today because you've got a lot of things that didn't exist back then. You've got a huge demand for Wi-Fi in some of the old buildings. You just can't get Wi-Fi in the building, so it really, hurts the customer experience.
The majority of the east side leveled, it wasn't long before demolition work spread like cancer throughout the hotel. When they reached the older sections, crews were faced with a challenge. All the blue areas on this map contained popcorn ceilings with the cancer-causing fiber asbestos. Crews had to carefully demolish everything around the ceilings, then seal the building off with plastic so that it could be properly removed.
You're going to take 50 million pounds of masonry and put it into free fall. You're going to take 30, 40 years of history away in the blink of an eye. You're going to change the skyline of a city.
By the time Controlled Demolition Inc. started preparation work, the Riviera's Monaco Tower was just the shell of its former self.
My favorite memory is being here with my family for the first time. Oh gosh, I don't know how many years ago. It was a long time ago though. And just staying here when the kids were little and being out on the real grass out by the pool.
With only days to go until the first implosion, chain link fencing and a black geotextile fabric were wrapped around the floors containing explosives, and a barrier was built between the building and the neighboring apartments, which were only feet away from the massive tower. For their safety, the LVCVA also gave the residents a free night in the local Marriott. At the LVCVA VIP area, the government agency went to great lengths to honor the Riviera's memory, from a Dean Martin cutout to free monogrammed USB sticks with historical facts.
Fantastic. I think it's time to get crazy. So, Rossi, we can do a little toast. The first siren just went off, so we have about 30 seconds before we hear another siren, and then we'll be ready for the shot.
Thank you. Again, I want to thank the staff of the LVCVA, our team. You guys are the best. Always do a super job. You know, 60 years ago, the Riviera was the toast of Las Vegas, the toast of the Strip. So it's only more prominent that we toast the Riviera.
You can look up in the sky. As soon as the smoke clears, you'll see some skywriting, then followed by the countdown.
I guess that's just my share of pictures on that. Car alarms are going off. I've never been that close to fireworks before. Jesus! Oh my God! Oh my God!
After the Monaco Tower, the next target was the legendary gaming floor. While the casino was going down, Terracon Consulting was wrapping the Monte Carlo Tower in white plastic so that they could sandblast stucco which contained asbestos. If the asbestos was disturbed, say during a building implosion, it could put hundreds of spectators at risk of developing lung cancer. Unfortunately, when the Monaco Tower was imploded early, it hit a corner of the asbestos-filled building, releasing the deadly fibers into the massive dust cloud. Whoever made this planning mistake even managed to cover it up before the news arrived. But they didn't count on that pesky historian staying up all night to film the cleanup process. By this time, the crews were getting ready to wipe the Riviera off the map once and for all. While a set of welders made special cuts in the steel support beams to fit explosives, another team drilled holes in the Riviera's concrete pillars and knocked out walls that could possibly stall the collapse. After all the prep work, crews installed explosives only feet away from tourists on the famous Las Vegas Strip. The explosives were then covered with boxes to cut down on flying debris. In its final weeks, the Riviera was a dangerous and scary place. While the chance to fall to your death would disturb most people, the biggest danger of all could fit in the palm of your hand.
What we have on the floor right now is the most sensitive thing that we work with. This detonator right here is an exposed detonator. If someone was to come in here and step on this right now, theoretically, they could set this off, which would start the chain reaction in the wrong place. But still, the entire building would be coming down on our heads within about 8 seconds.
I mean, if you stepped on one of these now, about how much time would it be before everything started going?
About enough time to say goodbye.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which
a boutique, and a swinging hot spot. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. They took all the trees, put them in a tree museum, and they charged the people $1.50 just to see them. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Hey, farmer, farmer, put away the DDT now. Give me spots on my apples, or leave me the birds and the bees. Please, don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Late last night, I heard the screen door slam, and a big yellow taxi took away my old man. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot.